I'm like satiating with like the desire for more, right? It was like, that was super cool.
So now let's go through an illustration, right? Or let's go with, we're back on appointment 2, okay? Or we're showing up for appointment 2, Grady, okay?
Okay.
So now we've set it up.
Are you doing them on the phone? Are you doing Zoom or in person? Kind of depends on the situation, but
I do both. It just depends on the client. Or I do Zoom. Like I won't do phone annuities. I want them to see me.
visually,
And I want to see them.
you,
Always.
professional,
Yes.
photo, illustration, right? Don't.
Yep. So I get back on the phone. Okay. Now, before I get on the phone or on Zoom, excuse me, I'm now sending the clients another email with some documentation, right? Because guys, we're talking a lot of money in some cases. And even if it's, 50 grand for them, that might be a lot of money. Okay. For other people, 100 grand is a lot of money. It's subjective, but for them, it's usually a lot of money. It's their nest egg. So you want to be professional, you want to be credible, and they want to work with someone that's a professional. So I send them an email, and let me share with you, Grady, what I'm going to send to them. So the first thing that I will review with them is this. I'm going to share with them the brochure. Okay. Can you guys see this? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to share them, and let's say I'm going to walk through an illustration with you guys, but I share with them the brochure. So here's the brochure for one of the clients I helped with. Actually, both clients, we did the same product. I'm going to say, hey, Bob. All right. So the company we're going to look at, they're the #1 company in fixed index, in safe money retirement programs. This is also known as a fixed index annuity. Now, the reason we're going with them is they're #1 in the industry, but don't take my word for it. I want you to take the word of the financial organizations that rate these companies. And if you look at their financial strength, they have at least an A with every company. And with most of them, they have an A+. So what that tells you is you're dealing with a company that is very financially stable. And so your money is going into a good place. Right? I'm not going to share all these numbers with you, Bob, but I want you to know that this company is #1 in the industry, and they have a great ranking with the different organizations. Okay.
Bob, is there a better ranking than A+? I'm not familiar. What do you know if there's
A+ is the top of the top.
Bob, A+ seems to be the best to me. Seems like
there it is, right? So now what does that do? That gives Bob a warm, fuzzy feeling. Okay, cool. I'm working with the top company. They have great ratings, and it's not just what Julius said. Now, hey, Bob, we're going to go over how this plan will help you. Okay. You mentioned you want to protect your money, right? So this is going to give you guarantees that you won't lose any money. Okay. As I mentioned to you last time, Bob, your money's tax deferred. So that just simply means you're not paying any taxes on moving it. You're only going to be paying taxes when you pull money out of the policy. Okay. If we need income, we'll talk about an income stream for the client. But hey, the other thing, Bob, is you talked about you wanted to grow this money. And so that way you can make money on your money. So you're going to have growth potential. I'll talk to you about that. Now, here's a great thing about this plan, Bob. It's going to give you a bonus. And right now they're offering the highest bonus that they've ever had. And this plan will give you a 16% bonus on your money, Bob. 16. So if we can get you approved for $300,000 and move that over, you're going to get a $48,000 bonus just for doing this. How would that feel to make up for some of your losses, Bob? Well, that'd be great. Of course it would, right? It's like a no-brainer. You're giving them almost 50 grand worth of money if they do that. Also, Bob, if you pass away, it's going to leave the money to your wife, Mary. So that way the money's never lost. And like I mentioned, you have protection from downside risk. So that's the plan benefits that we're going to go over here in a minute. So I kind of walk through the brochure. I'll scroll down. This is a little bit of what I already shared with you, Bob, just kind of goes into further detail, but I wanted to get you this brochure. Normally, if we're in person, I'll hand it to you, but I want to get you a copy of it. we're not going to spend too much time here, Bob, but what I do want to let you know, there are some limits on how much you can take out per year. And I've built that into the illustration to make sure it meets your financial needs long-term. We'll talk about that. You're not going to pay any fees. And we'll go through the situations there. And here's a cool thing about this, Bob and Mary. I'm going to scroll down here. I go past the index crediting strategy because I kind of explained it already without talking about it in detail.
Some of it's too heavy. You just want to pique their interest, educate them.
Correct.
We're not hiding. We're just, there's stuff that, they need to see that helps make decisions. Confuse people, take no action. So we're trying to just show them.
Yeah. Point to the big bullets, the benefits, right? It's all great. Now, the one thing I will express when I talk about growth is, hey, the best thing about this, Bob, is this: your money will make money when the market goes up. And now your gains are locked in. This is important, right? So if you had 100 grand and you got 10% interest, that's 10 grand. Your new principal balance is now 110 grand. Okay. If the market goes down tomorrow, you're now locked in at 110 grand. You can't lose that. So you got to think of it as almost like a staircase. It goes up and it can never go back down. It can only go up a stair. You can't go down a stair. Okay. So your money is locked in. You can never lose any money if the market goes down. So I go there, but then what I'm really talking about here is there's an annual free withdrawal. So depending on the plan, it'll either be 5 or 10% that you go with. And we'll talk about this plan specifically is a 10% annual free withdrawal. So, hey, if we get you approved for that 300K, you're able to pull out 10% per year. Okay. So that's 30K a year, penalty free to do whatever you need to do with it. And in this plan, if you don't, only in this plan, they don't all work like this, guys, but in this plan, if you don't take out any money this year, next year you can take out up to 20%. Okay. But here's another thing. If God forbid you get sick, Bob, and you get confined to a qualified care facility or you're terminally ill, you have the ability to pull out all of your money. And that's what most people are concerned about. How do I have access to my money if I get sick? Well, these plans include that. Okay. Any questions on that, Grady?
Excellent. I mean, these are just so many good benefits. And that's one of the things, one of our main reasons we sell term is, especially cashback term, is the living benefits. And to have living benefits on top of your money that you get access to, plus the growth, plus the guarantees of no loss, plus income if we want, plus a bonus, it's why these are the fastest growing retirement vehicle in the retirement vehicle space, right? So
absolutely.
Backed by insurance companies, which are, do you talk about ever the amount of state guarantee fund? Do you ever do that?
So what I do, good question. So what I don't talk about the state guaranteed fund, but what the question that you will get asked, and I've gotten asked is, well, how do I know my money's protected, or is it protected, or what's going on? Right. And then what I do is I will go back to the initial brochure I showed you guys, or I sent them. And in there, it says dollar for dollar solvency. And what I tell them,
We show that.
Yeah, I can go back to that. It's fine.
Because I think that's with today's climate, with the First Republic and then Silicon Valley Bank and, the things that are going on with FDIC. And, there's this, why Giannis has 50 different bank accounts. Because he's like, you're only protecting 250,000 of my money. And now $170 billion bank goes under. And so the difference is those are banks. So keyword, and we are putting your money, Dolores, with an insurance company. An insurance company has this protectionary measures, which Julius will explain now.
Yeah. So the first thing I say when they say that is, hey, Bob, the first thing that's important to understand is, number one, this is a contract. You're on contract with an insurance company to never lose a dollar. Okay. There's no market risk. So there's no market risk. It's a contract with an insurance company. That's number one. Number two, Bob, is if you look right here on the brochure, number 2, it says securities and guarantees. And all this simply means is this is backed by your local state. So there's a dollar for solvency, and all that simply means is for every dollar that they receive, they have to stay liquid, because if you pass away, they have to pay that as a death benefit, because they're technically an insurance company, not an investment company. So when you go to if you go to Charles Schwab and you give them your 300K, 9 out of every $10 you give them is now in the stock market, and that can be lost. Here, they have to keep it they have to keep it liquid, because if you pass away, they need to pay that out. That's literally all I say.
It's amazing.
That simple.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's completely different. And so Athene is like at 107%, 111% solvency. Like they have a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they're an A+, number one fastest growing or the biggest annuity company that exists out there. One of, asterisks. I'm not fact checking this, but these are, but incredible company who I've had a tremendous relationship with as well. So yeah, keep
all right.
crushing.
So let me find this, what I want to share with you guys. All right. So I created a mock illustration because I want to share with you guys what exactly I'm doing and how I'm selling it. Because at the end of the day, when you're going to go in front of the client, Grady, you got to know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and you want to do it in a way that you know me, Grady, but for the people that don't, I'm all about simplicity, because the simpler it is, the easier it is to explain, and the easier it is for them to move, right? Like you said, confused people don't buy, right? So I'm trying to unconfuse people and just make this as simple as I can. So here's just a hypothetical illustration, guys. This is not a real client. That name is not real. My name was real on there, but don't worry about my name and address and all that stuff. All right. So I will scroll down. Typically, I'll start here. This is the same thing that's on the brochure, Bob. We're not going to go over it again, but just the same benefits that you get. And why am I doing benefits first, Grady? Because it's the same way we sell insurance. You don't sell price, you sell value. I'm selling value. What is this going to do for you? How is it going to meet your needs? How is it going to help your family? How is it going to help your wife? Who is it going to, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going there.
Yeah.
So I come in here and, hey, just like I mentioned, we'll use Richard just since it's a fake name. Hey, Richard, so if we can get you approved, if you see here on the right-hand side, you have 300,000 that we're looking to potentially move over. Now, the reason why this says this is qualified, and I'll give you guys here another tip. There's 2 types of tax qualifications. Qualified means that the money still has to be taxed. 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, TSPs, all those taxable type of retirement accounts. So qualified means they still have to be taxed when they pull money out. If it's non-qualified, it's coming from like a cash savings or Roth IRA, something like that. All right. So, hey, if we can get you approved, the 300 grand, when you move it over, check this out, Richard, you're going to get a 16% bonus on your money. And I'll show you how that works out. Okay. Now, what this is here is this is just the strategy of how you're going to earn interest. And we're just using, in this case, there's 2 indexes, the S&P 500 and the BNP. And what that means to you, Richard, is that based on these indexes will determine how much interest you are going to earn per year. Okay. Now, on this specific plan, you do want to emphasize if there are any charges, you need to be transparent. Don't hide anything behind anything, because if you're hiding and they find it, they're not going to be happy. They probably won't move forward. So, hey, there is a charge. It's annual. The cool thing about this, it's less than 1%, but the money this charge doesn't come off of your principal balance, Richard. It's going to come off the interest that they credit you. So you just earn a little less versus actually taking off your account like Fidelity and Merrill would. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah. Perfect. So now we're going to scroll down. I pass all this. These are hypothetical and strategies. This is just too complex, and you'll get lost if you go through all this with clients. So I just move on that. And I said, now I come down here where it says on the right-hand side, you see where it says 0% interest earned. So what I say to Richard here is, all right, Richard, so check this out. If we can get you approved, you see here under the bold heading there where it says, here's a view of guaranteed annuity contracts, you'll get a premium bonus of $48,000. And if you look on your right-hand side, Richard, it says 0% interest. What this means is if our market never has another year of growth and you never earn interest again, let's face it, that's probably unlikely unless our world is coming to, hell in a hay basket and the world's coming to an end. The likelihood of our economy never growing again is very unlikely, but we're required to show you this. This is the guarantee. So even if that happens, you're not losing any money. Okay. So I will show them this so they can see that. And hey, you put in 300 in year one, your death benefit. If you pass tomorrow, your wife's going to get 344. That's 44 grand more than you have today. And then I show them the numbers. Okay. Now they're going to say, well, why is there a surrender value? Why is my surrender value less than my death benefit, Julius? Well, that's a great question. Because this is a retirement plan, and I actually would have done this on the first appointment. I skipped this in the training. I will let them know that because this is a retirement plan, they want you to keep your money in this long term. And because they want you to keep your money in there long term, they're going to ask you for a time commitment. Typically 10, maybe 15 years. So remember when I mentioned that, Richard? So now if you decide to take all of your money out in the first 10 years, they're going to give you a little bit less because you committed to a 10-year plan. But after the 10 years, it's dollar for dollar. So if you look, are you able to see my arrow or no?
Yep.
Okay. So if you look at my arrow here, so this is the last year that there is any fees. Okay. After this, you see it's dollar for dollar. Okay. Now here's the thing. My goal for you is for you to never pay a penny in fees. Why? Because then I'm not doing my job. Does that make sense, Richard? Of course. So because I asked you the questions, you don't plan on taking out more than X, we'll say 10 grand, you'll never pay a fee. The only time you would ever pay a fee is if you have to, in dire need, take out more than the 10% that they allowed you for. Do you foresee taking out more than 30 grand in a year in the next 10 years? No, then you'll never have to worry about this. So that completely kills the objection of, well, what am I paying for, right? Because now they don't have to worry about it. So that's all I say here, right?
That's at 0%. Market never grows, Yeah.
Market never grows.
Which has never happened, but
ever
to say that if it did happen, this is what you would still make, you'd still have more money. You
still have more money tomorrow if something happened. Okay.
So let's see if the market does grow.
So now, okay, exactly. So now we're going to scroll down to this page. So let's say the market does grow. So here, Richard, what I want to show you is this page is an illustration. It shows an annual assumed interest rate of 7.42. This is based off of the most recent 10-year period. So the last 10 years, these two indices have averaged 7.42%. So if we just have a repeat, we're not looking for growth. We're not looking for something, pie in the sky. We just want a repeat of what happened. This is what it's going to look like for your money. So you put in 300, like I said, you're going to get 48,000 in a bonus. Now year one, assuming you got that interest, your money is now at 354. Okay.
10 grand better than the zero.
10 grand better. Okay. Now keep in mind, Richard, you can't lose this money. If the market goes down tomorrow, we have a market crash, you will not lose money. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's going to grow. Okay. It's going to grow. Now, some years it might be higher, some years it might be lower. This is not a set number. This is all going to be based on how the market does. But let's say 10 years from now, after you're out of your surrender period, you're now at right here. So now your 300 can be in the ballpark of almost $600,000. Now, Could it be more? It could be. Could it be less? It very could be, right? So here, this is hypothetical because we don't know what the future holds. But what this does for you is it protects your money. It lets you earn your interest. And by the way, there's no fees on this that come out and eat away at your money. Okay. Okay.
15 years. Look at 15 years. It's $1 million.
Yeah.
Put in
But
300.
this one was a 15-year plan, the one I did with this guy.
Yeah. But
Well, this is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, look at your 60, put in at 45. You're in the middle of your working years. You've got your, you roll over a 401k, you sell a house, have some money, your company gives you a stock distribution, you got a lot of different things. You put that money into an annuity. By the time you're age 60, you got $1 million. Then, I mean, imagine you could take that million and put it into a different annuity, and now it could create an income for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll say to them, worst case scenario, maybe it's not $1 million. Grady, what if it's 700K and you didn't have to worry about it and you got peace of mind? Are you going to be upset? No, you're not. Right. So I do that because I try to down sell it versus like upsell it. Right. And with this guy, he's young, so I didn't factor in any RMDs or income or any of that stuff, but we could have done that if we needed to. Okay.
But what's cool too is so I loved your example. So say he needs to remodel the house, right?
Yeah.
But he hasn't taken any, but so year one, he could take out 30 grand, but say he doesn't need it, but say he needs to remodel his house year 4. Can he take out 20% at that point?
So correct. So in this specific plan, now guys, I got to urge this because not every plan is different, but for this case, this client can take out, if he didn't take out any money the prior year, he can take out 20%.
So, so year 4, he's got 454,000. He can take out 90 grand.
Correct.
And to remodel the house, which is
well, now there's a caveat, Grady.
Okay.
This is coming from a 401k. So if he does that, he's penalty free from a fee, but he's going to pay 10% because remember what I told you guys earlier, there's the 59.5 rule.
So he gets 81,000. So he can still remodel the house. Just he's got to get builder grade faucets instead of the fancy ones.
Correct.
Got it. So so the money's there. It's protected. It goes up when the market goes up. It doesn't go down when the market goes down. It's got terminal and critical illness. Where do I sign?
Well, it's not critical illness.
Terminal illness.
It's confinement waiver and terminal illness. Let's make sure. Okay. I don't want to mislead anybody.
The less smart guy should stop talking. I'll let the smart guy keep talking. Sorry, keep going, sir. I'm going to be quiet now.
You're good. You're good. So, but here, this is just a simple growth strategy for this client who was 45 and making some money, right? So the other thing I'm going to go through in the illustration, this thing, no, I'm going to pass all that. This shows him into the 90s. In some cases, I'll go through it, but with this guy, I didn't need to. Now I'm going to scroll down to this page. Okay. Cause it's important. Remember, like I said, it's all, this is all fluctuation based on market growth, right? So, hey, I'm required to kind of show you how things could play out, Richard. So on the left-hand side, this is the most recent 10-year period. Here's what it's done. It's averaged after the annual charge, 6.51%. The highest period, 10.18. The lowest period is 6.1.
Wow.
So, where is it going to land? No one knows, but my job is just to make sure you're educated so you know this thing will fluctuate. Okay. So I show them that.
All better than zero.
What's that?
All of them were better than zero.
100% better than zero for sure. And then I make sure that I let them know, hey, remember I told you if you pull your money out more than the free withdrawal amount within your first 10 years, that there's a fee. Well, here's the fee schedule. Again, you're not going to have to pay. I reiterate this. Again, you're not going to have to pay this only unless you take out more than the free withdrawal amount, which on your plan is 10%. And that's it, right? That's literally what I do on the illustration, Grady. And then from there, I say, okay, do you have any questions? I want to pause. Do you have any questions? I went through a lot. You have any questions? Usually they'll poke around. No, I think this makes sense. Okay, whatever. Okay. Next step, I just assume it. just like life insurance. All right, next step is, I help you fill out an application, and then we'll see if we can get you approved. If we can get you approved, the whole process from start to finish can take anywhere from about 4 to 6 weeks, because it takes time for the companies to process, your money to transfer, ship, etc. The great thing about this, Richard, is I'm going to do all the heavy lifting. The only thing I'll need you to do is sign a few papers from time to time, and I'll be in contact. And the one thing you can expect from me is a weekly update on where we're at and what's going on, so that way you're not in the dark. All right, let's get started.
I love it, man.
That's it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We need to have you on again, maybe do IULs or do Annuity 207. We'll the next level. But this was fantastic, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. I know you got to jump to another call, so I just wanted to appreciate you, brother. Thank you for jumping on.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thanks
drop a 2 in the comments below. Show Julius some love. 2s. All right. So one final thing too, if this was of interest to you, if your mind is expanded, if you want to learn more, then satisfy that desire to learn more, right? So you have to be as good as Julius by the end of the weekend. No, but if this is of interest to you, then you should start making a goal to spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes a day learning these sort of simple retirement solution-based products, right? How do we get good at dialing the phone? How do we get good at overcoming objections? Dial the phone and find objections. How do we get at closing business? Dial the phone, finding objections and overcoming the objections, and then making sales, right? So that's the same thing with this. I mean, we should have asked him at how many annuities presentations did he sit on before he closed his first one? I'd imagine it was a couple, right? But he's also a guy who likes to study. So I'd imagine he spent a lot of time studying. The cool thing too that we're working on at FFL is that we're going to have people like Julius who will do split cases with you. All you need to do is get the statement, submit it to Ask a Specialist, and we'll have a list of people that you can reach out to and say, who could close this for me, split the commission with them. You'll make 50% more than you wouldn't have made, which would have been 0. But now that person, you get to learn from them, learn their processes, get all their brochures, etc. So Julius is a wonderful resource. Spencer, Brett Allen, we've got a lot of great guys and gals that we're going to tee up for that. But my main thing is I'm satiating with the desire for more, right? It was that was super cool. So here's your homework. If you choose to accept it, fflams.com. Drop that in the chat for me, please, Miss China Fox. fflams.com. This is corporate. This is the team that backs the Ask a Specialist situation. So go out there, meet with the client, try a couple of these words. They go, you know what? I don't completely understand what you're saying, Grady, but I am interested in learning more. You get a statement or a dollar amount, what their goals are, growth or protection, etc. You go to FFLAMS, Ask a Specialist, fill it out, and then the team at FFLAMS will get that, and they will reach out to you back within 24 to 48 business hours with some conversations that start happening. But at that website is all hundreds of hours of training videos and brochures and handouts and all the things you're going to want to start learning to start opening your mind towards going, this is pretty cool. Who do I know? Do I have a family member? Do I have a brother, a cousin, a sister? Do I have people in my immediate circle that might want to protect their money, that are stressed out about the volatility that's going on? You can be someone that can put ease in your household, in your neighborhood, and in your community. And then as you start to progress, then you start to work like Julius and you work through leads, and you start to put yourself in a position where you start asking that golden question of what do you have that acts like life insurance, and start to do that again with strangers. So guys, tremendous call, massive gratitude to Julius. We're going to keep this transition. If you're looking for a simplified issue life insurance sales training, we've got thousands of hours of it in our boot camp, on our YouTube channel, and all of our training websites. What we're kind of focused on here now is a higher level, just another level of production, taking the word tracks and the mindsets of our elite producers who do annuities and IULs, which makes it a lot simpler to hit Hall of Fame and get that red jacket. But those type of producers and transitioning those word tracks out to you to start to really advance and set our goals to double, triple, quadruple, and become one of the biggest annuity and IUL teams inside the entire industry. So gratitude to you all. Incredible gratitude to Julius. Look forward to seeing you on this call next week. Bye for now.